Welcome everybody. I've got a long anticipated buff for Kommo-o. Man, there's a lot to get into, so I'm just going to start off with the typing. Pretty obvious dual type for Kommo-o. The Pokedex literally says that the scales are steel, not as hard as steel, not, steel-like scales. They are literally steel scales. That's also why he learns steel type moves. So Dragon Fighting is, oh my god, my voice cracking. I'm sick if you can't tell, but yeah, Dragon Steel and Dragon Fighting both fit. The other, basically in this ROM hack, I want one Pokemon of every dual type. So, Haxorus was changed to Dragon and Fighting, while Kommo-o is now Dragon and Steel. The only other Dragon and Steel type that is not Dialga, which is not usable, is Aggron, who is also a pseudo-legendary and actually has a lot of competition with Kommo-o. Kommo-o is faster. Both of them are very strong. Aggron has a higher base attack, but he's not a mixed attacker. And then Totem Kommo-o is technically bulkier than base Aggron because of Intimidate and a massive HP stat. But then also Aggron has a Mega, so like they have really good competition with one another. I don't think one is better than the other. I just think it's cool that they have like that little rivalry going there. But the abilities, multi-scale, God knows why they didn't give this multi-scale in the real games. I guess it might be overpowered in real games with the Z move, but like they didn't have to give it the Z move. The Z move came later. They could have just given it multi-scale from the start. It's a perfectly fitting ability. It always should have had multi-scale in my opinion. And its other new ability is another very fitting ability, and Instinct. Instinct is essentially download. So that is what helps Kommo-o be very strong, because a lot of pseudos suffer from the fact that they're mixed attackers and therefore their base stat total points are not optimized, and Kommo-o fits really well as a mixed attacker, and I didn't want to remove that. So Instinct makes his 110 offenses, which are already really good, into incredible offenses. There are other 110 offenses Instinct Pokemon, there's tons of them. Some of them are even stronger than that, so it's not like that's unique to Kommo-o, and there's also ones that are much faster than Kommo-o is. But Instinct is still a great ability for Kommo-o, and you can use that infinite use ability capsule to switch between the two. And you can also choose between Kommo-o or Totem Kommo-o. Totem Kommo-o is much bulkier with 125 base HP, because I do base HP more on size in this hack, and Kommo-o is already big. I mean, he's actually not that tall, so that's why 90 HP is pretty fair. He's like 5 something, but Totem Kommo-o is fucking huge, so 125 HP. He also has high physical attack because of his size just being bigger. Still a good mixed attacker though, and then he trades that for speed. So you can't run like speed boosting sets aren't as viable on Totem Kommo-o, but honestly setup sets in general in this game are not as great, especially if you're doing a Nuzlocke, not optimal. But he does have the typing for it. He does resist first impression, all his other moves, so you can definitely get some Kommo-o sweeps going late game. Keep in mind the Dragon Dance TM will be in the 60s. You'll be like level 60 by the time you get that. And then that only has 2 PP. And then Swords Dance only has 1 PP, and you're not that fast, so you'd only be using Swords Dance with like either Double Dance, like Rock Polish Swords Dance, or something else like that. Rock Polish also gives you an accuracy boost, so that goes really well with buffed moves like Flash Cannon and all these other really cool things. Dragon Fury plus Flash Cannon plus like Focus Blast / Fire Blast or Hydro Pump, or all these crazy coverage moves it has now. Also, speaking of move buffs and changes, I've changed and buffed 600 plus moves in this hack, so if this is your first impression of this hack, please do check out that Google sheet in the description below, or if you've just yet to do that, definitely give that a look. It took me several months to make that move sheet alone, and it would be a big shame if you did not give it a look. So yeah, with that being said though, Kommo-o, it's great defensively and it's great offensively. Totem especially is great defensively with Intimidate, so you can switch from Instinct to Intimidate if you want power versus bulk. He does have Fortify as a steel type recovery move. Recovery moves are widespread in this hack, so that's really good for him. Priority moves are also widespread in this hack. Every Pokemon has at least one priority move for the most part, with like maybe one exception. Kommo-o has Draco Jet, Bullet Punch, First Impression, and Sucker Punch. None on the special side, just because I didn't think Magnetic Burst or Twister really fit him that well. So I didn't have to give those, but he's got incredible stuff on the special side as well. The Z move is nerfed, and it's also post-game only. The reason I had to nerf it is because of the new typing and multi-scale. It would be really overpowered otherwise. Even for this hack standards, it would be a little bit broken, because he's so bulky that he like takes first impressions for days. Even after the 30% recoil, it was 50% recoil, but I realized that the Z move is post-game, so I put it to 30%. So like if you want to use the OP Z move, go ahead and use it. Me personally, I would not be. I don't like sleeping. Not even that you could. There's some fights you probably couldn't, especially because a lot of the Rainbow Rocket fights, actually all the Rainbow Rocket fights are going to be doubles, so it's a little bit harder to sweep those. But, Z-move is still good, very strong, gives you +1 all your stats, you become incredibly fast, incredibly bulky, all that fun stuff, incredibly strong. But yeah, for the most part, he's very viable. There are tons of new pseudo-legendaries, by the way, so if you are new here, definitely give those a look as well in the Google Sheets. And all Pokemon are equal, so it's not like just because he's a pseudo, he's better than other guys, base stat total is higher, but that doesn't make him a better Pokemon. I mean, he still has weaknesses, although again, Dragon Steel with multi-scale and 90, 125, 80 is still some pretty crazy bulk, and then the Totem is even bulkier, but he does lose multi-scale for Intimidate. Intimidate is better for defensive utility, multi-scale is better for setup, usually. However, multi-scale plus Fortify is really good for defensive utility still. Like, Kommo-o can still run a defensive set with the base form with, you know, Parting Shot and Glare and Fortify and all this other great stuff that you can swap around with that infinite usability capsule, the infinite EV training items. There's a lot of customizability to every single Pokemon. Kommo-o is no exception because he can be like 5 things at once. You know, he can be defensive, offensive, special, physical, mixed, whatever you want to do. Otherwise, he's just a goat. Battle Cry is another great utility move that will drop attack and special attack by 2. And yeah, like I said earlier, I did change the typing because Dragon Steel just is not only is it way better for Kommo-o, but it also fits way more in my opinion. It literally says the metallic sounds of its scales. The scales are used to make weapons. It's armored in steel scales. So like, yeah, obviously fighting typing fits, but fighting can just be represented in like his move pool. You know, it doesn't have to be his typing. Versus, well, Haxorus, I think fighting type fits really well for Haxorus. You can check out that video if you're curious as to why I did that. And of course, look at it on the Google Sheet to see all the buffs and stuff. Haxorus also being a pseudo as well, so that's really fun. Yeah, I think I low-key, like, it's very simple when you actually think about it. In terms of which one is better between the Totem or base form, as I always say, I wouldn't say any of them is better than the other. That's kind of by design. It's up to your personal preference and which one you would rather run. I'd personally probably choose the Totem just because setup is not that fun. The only time I would ever choose the base Kommo-o is if I had really good speed IVs and potentially a plus speed nature. Then I would probably go with the base form because then you can use Choice Scarf really well for instinct sets and stuff. But otherwise, I'm going with the Totem form for sure, because Intimidate's really fun with in the harder coordinates locks and stuff. Multi-scale's good too. It's not like multi-scale's bad defensively. I just Intimidate is like more fun and better in my opinion for purely defensive utility. Of course, multi-scale has the benefit of not only letting you take special hits better, but allowing you to set up with like Rock Polish or DD or all these other crazy moves. Belly Drum also in time for the league. Level 70 is roughly by the time you'll be getting to Hapu in the league. So yeah, you can use Belly Drum plus Draco Jet and Bullet Punch and go crazy there. With Instinct is useless, but with multi-scale or Intimidate is good. Draconic Waves, Dragon-type Boom Burst, that's really cool. You have all types of buffed base power on all these crazy moves, so just check those out in the description, honestly. I think I'll just leave this off there. Pretty brief. Let me check how long I am. I can talk a little more, maybe 7 minutes. I'll talk a little bit longer. So, some other stuff. Breaking Swipe and Skirmish always drop attack and special attack, so those are really good utility moves. His mixed move pool in general is great. Flash Cannon obviously is 110 base power, 90% accurate if you didn't know that by now. Again, I encourage you to just check out that move sheet because most moves are buffed or changed. But he really appreciates the Flash Cannon buff and Iron Tail buff. Iron Tail is the exact same thing, just physical. So that's really great as well. So then you have Iron Head and Mirror Shot for 80 base power, stab, reliable. Dragon type stab, you have Dragon Pulse, 100 base power, 30% chance to para. Dragon Breath, Dragon type Scald, Draco Meteor, 150 base power. Draconic Beam is an exclusive move that like they get later on, most dragons. That is 180 base power, minus 4 special attack, 3 PP. Very, very strong move right there. Draconic Wave, like I said, is Dragon type Boom Burst, 125 base power. Same with actual Boom Burst, which is on Evolution, 45. Uproar is pretty great for Nanu, maybe if you wanted it. Although I would just run Aura Sphere because I'm not locking myself in unless I know for sure that I can sweep. That's really risky otherwise, especially on a Nuzlocke. If you're not doing a Nuzlocke mode, go crazy, you know, go ahead and just spam Uproar over Aura Sphere. And Focus Blast is 10 base power stronger than Uproar still, but Uproar is 100% accurate while Focus Blast is 85, so yeah, it's up to you to choose. Dragon Steel is really good dual stab combination, especially now that Ice resists Dragon. Ice resists Dragon, Flying, and Ground, as well as Ice, so Dragon Steel is really good because it hits Ice, while Dragon Fighting is really good because it hits Steel. So it's kind of like Dragon Steel, Dragon Fighting are pretty equal in terms of what they hit now because Dragon hits everything. We all know that, besides Steel and Ice and Fairy. So Dragon Steel hits Fairy and Ice, while Dragon Fighting hits Steel. So it's up to you. And then of course Haxorus and Kommo-o both get, and Aggron, they all get coverage moves to hit the other guys anyways. And not that you don't need to hit everything in the game anyways. You can always just switch out, switch move into your ally. You do have 5 other Pokemon. Not every Pokemon has to stay in the battle forever. It's more fun to play that way anyways. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think I should just leave it off here before going on even longer. I can say Glare. Glare drops attack, special attack, and paralyzes, so that's a really good utility move on multi-scale or Intimidate sets especially. Again, you have infinite customizability to swap your EVs and all that fun stuff around, so to make the most out of your Kommo-o, you should be, you know, using all of their good attributes, not just. I mean, it also depends on your IVs and nature and your other teammates. For example, if I had another Intimidate Pokemon at the time, I might go with the base Kommo-o. If I had another Multiscale Pokemon at the time, I might go with the Totem. Or sorry, the other way around. No, other way around. I was right. Yeah. So depends what you want to do. Depends on your personal preferences. All that fun stuff. I think I'm just gonna leave it off there though. Really sick bust from my boy. Very much deserved. Really cool pseudo. Definitely underrated. Lastly, I'll say a Violet Kommo-o. All of the pseudo legendaries have 480 base stat total mid evolutions, so you can use them with a Violet. Kommo-o has the advantage of being faster, and of course he is much bulkier than Totem, not Totem, but base Kommo-o with multi-scale. Video's looping, so that's my sign to end the video. So yeah, thanks so much for listening, everybody. I'll be back for more coming up. It's pretty much just legendaries and Ultra Beasts left, so thanks everyone.